Gill Sotu is a native veteran, a poet, a playwright, a DJ, and a performing artist. If you could do all your moves too along the way, he's a Grand Slam poetry champion, a Raw Performing Artist of the Year, and a Tech Hawk San Diego presenter. Currently, he's a teaching artist and a playwright at the Old Goal and La Jolla Playhouse, and the official poet resident of the San Diego Writers Festival. Sorry about that. This brother is part of the lineage of spoken word artists in San Diego. And if you go back into the lineage of it, oh yes, it is something that opens people up. It explains and gives you words that you didn't have to explain their life through emotions. And to have Gill here is to have a part of the lineage of San Diego spoken word scene here. And yeah, the book right here too. So check out the book, and he's gonna tell you more about it. Please give a round of applause for Gill Sotu.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be here. I am so happy to be here. You all are my people. Give it up for yourselves, my creative people. Almost, or almost my people, because you get up hella early. I am not an early riser whatsoever. I'm really on it though. I'm really working on it. I actually found this ancient African ritual that they practice, and I think they practice it even in Tibet. If you do this, they say you'll always get up early, like damn near every morning. I don't know what they call it in their language. Here we call it kids. So every morning, like clockwork. When Ravel asked me, Lord, is that good? You hear me? All right. So when I'm just loud, I'm just talking. When Mel asked me to do this, I was very excited because I had seen some of the clips of Creative Mornings, and then he snuck in there. This was about rituals, and I was like, okay. I had to think about it because honestly, when I was thinking of rituals, I was thinking about like discipline and things you do every day, and there's literally nothing I do the same every single day. But that's a beautiful thing. Like I've actually embraced that. So on a given day, on a given week, I can be in front of high schoolers. I go into prisons every week, go into jails, shelters, teaching poetry and playwriting and Shakespeare and performance. And I love what I do. So when I started to think about rituals, I had to really put it into context. And I did come up with 5 rituals that I always do. And hopefully when I present these to you, you can pick up what I'm putting now. And maybe it'll enhance your life, your creative life in some way or shape or form. So the first thing that I realized that I did in rituals is to refocus, right? So I started out in slam, and if you don't know anything about slam poetry, it's like all these other wordy nerd people love to just express themselves, but you're competing against each other. But you're using your trauma, and then you're competing against each other, and you're talking about all of the feelings inside, but you have your friends out there wanting to do the same thing, and you want them to succeed, and you feel for them, and you're empathetic, but you kind of want them to mess up because you're competing against them. So it's this weird dynamic that I came up in, and it made me a better performer. But there was a moment that happened right when I was sitting on the wings of the stage, about to get up. So many amazing poets and writers and everything, and I was about to come up, and the thought hit me that I don't need to be the dopest poet on the stage. I just need to be a beautiful poet, right? And then that transition, thank you, that transitions into now every single time I speak on a microphone, I refocus, right? I get my ego out of it. And I put my hand over my heart, I speak to God, you can speak to whoever it is that you speak to, and I say, let me touch at least one person in the crowd today, right? Let me touch at least one person in the crowd today. Because here's the thing, you'll never touch everybody. No matter what you do, you're never going to reach every single person. And here's the thing, is that one comment can destroy you, right? You can get, but then also, one comment can lift you up and keep you going as an artist, right? So if you touch that one person and they come up to you after you say, what you did meant something to me, then it's all worth it, you know? And that's what you have to strive. So whenever you are starting a project or doing something that is going to be shared with others, the first thing that I always do is I refocus. And I was doing it right before I got up there. Let me touch at least one person, at least one person. And inevitably, by focusing that way, your ego gets out of it, and that it's okay if that one person is you. I write things that encourage me. I write things that make me feel better when I'm done after I've started. You know what I'm saying? And it's the thing that has kept me alive as an artist. The second thing, oh, I forgot the title. So the second thing is to honor the muse. One ritual that I always do is when the muse comes, and the muse doesn't always come. Sometimes you just have to sit your ass in a chair and do the work, right? But when the muse comes, I stop everything and I record it. Because I have to honor the muse and honor the inspiration that comes. You never know where it's going to come. And then to pair on that, what I often do is I put myself in a situation where I am going to be inspired, right? So if you find yourself doing the same routine every day, you're doing the same kind of route and going to work and the people you hang out with and the things that you intake, then you're going to have the same output. If you challenge yourself, if you get yourself into spaces of inspiration, and if you look at it, like, you know, when you want to get a new car and you see that car everywhere, you could do the same thing for inspiration. I find inspiration everywhere. The fact that you guys got up early, got your donuts and cake here, that's very inspiring to me. Last night, my daughter did not want to take a shower. She's only 3. She was screaming, crying. How do I turn that into inspiration? I'll tell you that in a second. The next thing, this goes along with that, is accepting play. Play is so essential to what we do. Any of you guys put that heart, love to play? That didn't sound like we chose that hard. You guys still do that hard? Love to play? Yeah. So you have to embrace play. Especially when you turn your art into a commodity, it feels like the play has been sucked out of it, right? But when I teach any writing course, my first thing is I say, write for the trash can. Write for the trash can. That means write and play. Write like no one's gonna see it unless you tell on yourself, right? So every Friday I go into Cincinnati State Prison. I teach a class on Shakespeare and performance and writing there. And the first thing we do with the gentleman there is we do these theater games. And we're doing crazy stuff like, I don't know, pretending you're a dog, a turtle. Like they just come up with their own thing. This is before we get into any of the Shakespeare work. We just play. Because just like us out here, we wear these masks all day. Sometimes it's hard to get that makeup off, right? It's hard to get that makeup off. So if you can approach your art with the sense and the sensibility of play, then your whole world is going to change. There's one person who couldn't do it. There's a guy in Cincinnati, his name's Mac. He just wrote us this summer. He's been in our class maybe 3 years now. He's a brilliant artist, and he wanted to be an actor before he got into prison. But he was locked up before a prom, and he says that he didn't commit. He's been in prison for a maximum security prison for over 20 years. And so when we ask him to get in a circle and play with us, he doesn't do it. When he's acting and he's someone else, he could play. He's the silliest dude. But when it's his old self, he couldn't do it. And we kept telling him year after year, man, you got to participate because that affects the room when you're just sitting out and everybody is playing. And he wrote us a letter this summer, just came to us. And he's like, I want to get better at getting better, but because of my situation, my heart is just broken. I can't play. I cannot play, right? So oftentimes I use other people's stories to inform my own. And I think like, man, at least this dude is showing up. He half attempts to play, and then when he gets into the character, he plays full out. But at least he's showing up. He's attempting to play. What's your excuse? Why aren't you playing? Why aren't you having fun with your art? I know it's a commodity. I make my entire living. I feed my children doing this art, but I find time to play. So when my daughter didn't want to take a shower, I turned that shower into a disco because I'm a DJ. I was like, so, everybody, you know, and it was tears, and then she was shaking her little booty. She was afraid. You turn everything that you can into play, into joy, and then that's gonna show up in your heart, right? The next thing, and I want to say, the word that I want you to get away from this is when you start your art, you know, there's things that you get commissioned for, and there's things you just do just to do it. Get messy with that, right? Get messy, and then find the gems inside of that, right? Don't be afraid to do that. Next is, can you tell me when I have 5 minutes up? Trusting your inner judge. That's a big thing. So I teach a lot of artists, mainly writers and everything. And one of the things that I always speak about is trusting in your own dopeness meter. I'm old school. I use the word dope all the time because I'm fresh. And so if you create for the trash can, and then you start creating, you're gonna have those thoughts in your head that it's not good enough, right? But if you could pick up the gems that are amazing, and then trust your dopeness meter right before you show it, and if it crosses that line and said, okay, this could be something, then you share it with other people. Now here's the secret: if any of you guys are creative and you're sharing your work with other people, have you ever shared your work with anybody, and then as you're reading it, as you're sharing it, you get all these like feelings inside, like, I should have done this, I should have done that. A lot of people, when they show their work, they're testing for other people's reactions. I teach the opposite. I teach when you share your work, check for your own reactions. You have an inner dopeness meter that's gonna go, or you know what I'm saying? So you have to test how you feel about it. Because it doesn't matter because your art for that moment, for that piece, may not be for them. But it could be for other people. But it definitely, no matter who it's for, it has to be for you, right? And I was just telling a young lady outside, when you feel like your art is dope, like it's for you, what happens is you start to have this energy, and when you talk about it, you start to have this energy, and it's infectious, and people want to help you, and people want to connect you with other people, and even if they can't do it at that moment, what happens is that energy stays locked inside of them, and when they meet somebody else that can connect with you, they're like, oh, I got the perfect person, right? But it doesn't happen if you keep it inside. It doesn't happen if you're not passionate about it. If you don't think that what you do is dope, that it doesn't enhance your life, right? So I'm always checking for myself, for my inner dopeness. Like, I like this shit. This is okay, all right, and you be okay that it's gonna change. Like you put something out, you think it's dope, but then you get it in front of an audience or whatever your medium is, and then it changes. And that's okay too. And you're flexible in that. You're flexible in putting things out in the world. The creation process is for you. The creation process is for you. After the creation process and you're presenting it out to the world, you put it out to the world and you have to be independent of the results, right? You're still checking to see if you love it, right? And that's the thing that you change if you don't love it. But you got to be independent of the results. One of the things, I may have said this the last time I spoke here, one of the things that I often do when my ego starts getting in the way, because the ego starts getting in the way, I find something that, a piece of art that I find, like I think is damn near perfect, like a Stevie Wonder album or a Prince album. And this is what I'm feeling really low. I don't listen to the music though. I read the reviews. And there's these trolls on there that say Stevie is whack, and there's these trolls on there that say Prince can't sing, and I'm like, you are ridiculous, and that makes me feel better because I know that if they could talk about them, they could talk about me, so it doesn't matter.
That's not. You have something inside of you, each and every one of you, that needs to come out. And it needs to be in your exact way, in your exact voice. It's so important. So the last thing that ritual that I always engage in is the ritual of resilience. Right? That's the struggle. Have anybody read The War on Art? If you haven't read it, you need to read it. It's an amazing book. It's a short book, but it's a war on art. It's a war in your soul against really yourself. You're putting these boundaries on you when you're trying to create. So, what is it that? And I see that when I work in prison, when they let that mask come off. These are some of the most amazing actors, better than some of the ones I know at the Old Globe and the La Jolla Playhouse. And I have one of my co-teachers has a master's degree in acting, and he's like, man, I would love to work with this person up on stage at the Globe or the Playhouse, because they were able to take off that mask and just play and understand their own dopamine meter. And really, what those men teach me each and every time I go is the ritual of resiliency. There's going to be so many times you want to give up. There's going to be so many times you think that you're not good enough. I go through that all the time. All the time. No matter how much accolades that I get, it doesn't matter, because one person can torpedo that for you. So I teach myself that resiliency. That means, what does that mean? That means going to places that I know that there's going to be community. Going to places that I know there's going to be art, listening to things that I know is going to challenge me, that's going to create inform my art, engaging in conversations that are tough sometimes, but just really looking and being open to inspiration everywhere you can. If you can gain that ritual, then you're going to have a long, long life in art. Eh? Did I end it with a poll? You mind? There's some poets in the house. Anybody else poets in the house? They could go. Even though people make some noise? You really make some noise, Tyler. Okay. There's purpose in your story. There are wings, there are hidden talents, there are things in your story. There's triumph, there's failure in your story. Skin knees and hidden fees in your story. It costs to love. There's purpose missing from your day. From sunrise to sunset, be obeyed. To unlock the construct, here's the rub. We are both the master and our own slave. The chains display when we fail to love and succeed to crave. See, purpose is the art form of giving your gifts away. Blessings if you do it for free. Kudos if you found a way to get well paid. Still working on that, Rebel. The mission is still the same. Freedom through vision, fight through higher purpose, strength by helping others penetrate the wall that is imprisoning their potential. Who knew we were that strong? We stand 10 toes down with beautiful minds, contemplating future skies, and if we do this right, you and Navy and you, we gonna make it through, by jackhammer or by school, purposefully Shawshanking our redemption. Living in purpose is like wearing platform shoes when they were still cool, or like trying to be the only sober one at a Snoop Dogg concert. You can't help but being on higher frequencies, like dog whistles. Are you hearing love speak? Are you hearing love speak? Are you hearing the frequency of when love speaks? When your partner gives you the rest of their remaining energy, when all they want to do is shut out the world and get off of their aching feet. You see, purpose is often sacrificing your temporary wants for your tribe's permanent needs. There's purpose in your search. joy in pooling in all of your experience and swimming in the choppy waters of good work. Purpose is a rhyme that doesn't always work. It is a constantly constructed poem. Your purpose is the move. Creative Mornings. You may not see all the angles right now, but if you're patient and you stay in this field and you cast your eyes on the soft horizon, I promise you, light is going to shine on your entire purpose soon. But if you can't wait to get ahead, look back. There's purpose in your story. There are wings, there are hidden things, there are talents in your story. Today, this morning, share with someone the hard work it took to ascend your allegory. I am so proud of you. Don't let another day, another moment, another meeting like this, another year go by without working on something that you absolutely believe in. It's important, it's purpose, it's pure. It feels like ego, but they just happen to be wearing the same outfit that day. Do not worry about other people's uninformed perception of who you are. Understand, what you were meant to do is going to be really big to a small number of people. My only question is, what exactly are you waiting? Thank you all, I appreciate you.